Yeah. Oh, you talking? I thought you were talking about that. You talking to me? You talking to me?
Do you want us to lean together?
Okay, I thought you were talking to me. I just wanted to make sure that you were talking to me. Okay. As long as you're talking to me.
And then we've got our other folks over here as well.
Hold on, it's 9:59.
I know, I can't say it on the mic yet. It don't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna drive around town. Did you bring Amber her purse?
Yeah.
I'm already wearing it.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
I said thank you. I posted about it, and it is just Paul. Just Paul says. Paul says.
Yeah. All right, Joseph, if you could close the door, we're about to get started.
Yeah.
All right. Yay.
2 claps.
With these
You're in here with
people.
us now.
So now that you're here.
All right, welcome everyone to our annual live show here at DragonCon. As is tradition, we will be premiering our new season, Eidolon, here, our 4th season, written by the wonderful Eric Ravenscraft.
Hi, everybody.
We have a couple substitutions tonight due to people not being able to be here. The part of Richard will be played by Trevor Garner in the show, but will be played tonight by Zachary Votto. Yay. And the part of Samantha, which is played by Amanda Van Heil in the show, will be played by me.
Yeah.
So for anyone who hasn't checked us out before, we're a horror show that tells a new, completely different story every single season. And our first season takes place on a 1920s cruise ship plagued by a malevolent elder god. Our second season is a serial killer loose in the Old West. Our third season, which is currently airing right now, are biblical demons loose in a cyberpunk future. And so season 4, we are going to be taking you into the cult depths of old Hollywood.
Oh my. Yeah.
That's what we said.
So without any further ado, Blood Crow, can you take it away for us?
Yeah, it was on purpose.
Welcome, my darlings, to our annual live show here at DragonCon in Atlanta. New subjects mean a new year for us here at the facility, and we've decided to give you a taste of what's to come in our new season, Eidolon. This season will take you back to the golden age of Hollywood in the 1950s to a film studio with some, well, dark secrets waiting to be uncovered.
Stay tuned now for James Ullman with the news, presented by Eidolon Studios' upcoming motion picture, An Untimely Love. And now, James Ullman.
This week in news, President Eisenhower signs the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, authorizing $25 billion for the construction of 41,000 miles of interstate highways. The Middle District of Alabama Court ruled in the case of Browder v. Gale that enforced segregation of black and white passengers on motorbuses violates the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. But first, the Radio Broadcasting Company presents the first in a 2-part series on Theodore Montgomery, the enigmatic man behind the renowned Eidolon Studios. Relatively unknown in the industry until recently, Montgomery has built a media empire to rival the likes of MGM. This meteoric ascension from what was until recently a humble studio has caused many to wonder, where did Montgomery come from? How did he lead his media empire to such heights? And is there more going on behind the scenes than we know? In this piece, we'll reveal for the first time the stories of those inside the studio, what they experienced, and...
That's quite enough of that.
I was listening to that. I happen to think it's important to keep up with the news.
Richard, honestly, you listen to that little box more than you listen to most people. You work there, for goodness sakes. You should know what's going on there.
People listen to folks on the other side of that box. Shouldn't I listen too?
So, what's on your schedule for today?
Today, I pitch my movie.
Oh my, is that today?
If Donovan doesn't push it back again, yes. Never seen a man so in a hurry, but if I could get him to sit still for the 5 minutes he promised, I'll be in good shape.
Well, I hope he cooperates. I know you've been working so hard on it.
Yeah.
What is it, sweetheart?
It's good though, right? You think I should pitch it?
Oh, honey,
You think it's crap.
I think I don't know the film industry like you do. You're asking the secretary if the engine is built properly. It's not my place to know.
Well, I guess you're right.
I believe in you, though. If you think it's good, I trust that it will be amazing.
What would I do without you?
Oh, you'd probably do just fine. I think I'm gonna go for a walk. In case you're gone by the time I get back. Good luck today, honey.
I will be gone, yes. And if all goes well, I'll be working pretty late tonight, so you'll have the place to yourself. I try not to wake you when I get in. Have a good walk, dear.
Morning, Samantha.
Good morning, Dave.
Oh, darling, are you all right?
Oh, yeah, it's just a bit of allergies.
It's October, dear.
Is it? I must have a cold.
You know, if it's that important you hide, you might want to get a little better at it.
I'm not hiding. I just...
Oh, well, I am sorry. Terrible of me to presume. Let me try again. My name's Hannah. How's your day going?
Oh, well, it's fine, I suppose.
Oh, well, fine's good. Better than most folks get some days. Now, what do you have going on today, neighbor?
Oh, well, my husband's pitching a movie today, so that's exciting. Hopefully he'll be able to...
Pardon me, hon, but I did mean what do you have going on? I'm sure your husband's a delightful man, but I didn't bump into him today.
Oh, well, I suppose today Well, I'm not really sure what I'll do today. My husband will be out late, so I have the evening to myself, but...
Oh, well then. If you don't have anything to do today, I wonder if you might be willing to help me.
Perhaps? With what?
Well, you see, I have a little shop in town, and today's the day I restock my supplies. I don't get around quite as well as I used to, and could use an extra pair of hands to make light work of these groceries. And it seems like you could use some company till it's time to make dinner. Now, what do you say? You want to run some errands with me?
I don't think I should.
Oh, well, I didn't ask if you should, hon. I asked if you wanted to.
I think I do. Yes.
Fantastic. It's a date.
Jerry, what the hell are you doing up there? How are we gonna have enough room to mount the catch light above the balcony if you mount the grid 6 inches above the actors' heads? Come on!
You know you can just let Roger handle it. Lighting's his job.
If I could trust people to do their jobs without my supervision, I wouldn't be down here today. Have you seen Remy?
Not for a while. Last I saw, she was shouting at a group about how to coil cable properly.
Well, can you find her for me? Tell her I need to see her.
Richard!
Hey, I found Remy for you. Remy! Richard needs to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob. Richard. Well, it's not on set. What do we do? We've done all we can to get ready, but we can't shoot without a director.
We can shoot without a director.
Richard, don't.
It's the studio's movie, Remy. We hired him. If we have to shoot with an absentee director, that's what we'll do. I'll tell you what we can't shoot without. We can't shoot without...
Richard!
him. Gary, how's everything?
Are you joking? I've been waiting for half an hour, with no water, mind you, to start shooting. What are we waiting on?
Well, Gary, we're not even scheduled to start shooting for another 15 minutes. It's on your call sheet.
There's no reason we can't start now. The whole set's ready to go.
The rig above the balcony still needs to be adjusted, unless you don't mind banging your head on a light during your monologue. Also, Weller's not here yet. We're certainly not ready to start shooting.
Well, then can I at least get some water? I don't want to start the scene parched.
Is that not a glass of water that you're holding right now in your hand?
Tap water, Richard. I've told Weller a dozen times. Tap water is extremely abrasive to my voice. If you want the performance you're paying for, I need
All right. Hey, listen, don't worry, Gary. I'll get you taken care of. You know you're my star. I'll get you whatever you need. You count on me.
Thank you, Richard. Glad to know someone around here understands the craft.
I hate that guy.
You think he'll notice his call sheet says we were supposed to start shooting an hour ago?
Oh, not before he notices that filtered water we give him is tap water with ice.
Want me to take care of it?
Yes, please. And Remy, go see if you can find Weller. I don't care what your other duties are today. Track him down. Until then, Jacob, you're in charge. Try to get something usable out of Gary. I've got a meeting with Donovan, I hope.
Yeah, I'm on it.
We'll do.
Come in.
Donovan, thank you for seeing me.
Yeah, you said you had something for me?
Yes, I have a movie pitch.
Okay, you said it's really good?
I certainly hope so, sir.
I should hope so, too. I don't want to waste Mr. Montgomery's time.
Did you say Mr. Montgomery?
Donovan, Richard. Well, I'm late, of course. I hope you haven't started without me.
Not yet, Teddy. Richard here was just about to get started with his amazing pitch.
Well, sir, I admit I wasn't expecting to pitch to the president of the studio today.
And why not? And if you're not confident enough in your ideas to pitch it to me, well, maybe we should just pass right now. I'm just giving you a hard time. You could handle that, ain't that right? You're a military man, ain't you?
Yes, sir, I am. 42nd Infantry Division, sir. Though I imagine most men my age served. Just did what needed to be done.
Well, most men except Donovan here, eh? Didn't have the stomach for this one. Just skipped straight to producing. I kid, of course. I kid. But Donovan has good reason for missing out on all the fun of war. Still, we all serve in our own way, one way or another. Now, so tell me, what makes you want to write your own film?
Well, I admit I'm not the best script writer, but I do think I've got a decent direction we can explore.
Well, let's hear it then.
All right. So the film is called Ancient Beasts of Turtle Island. The story follows two archaeologists named Hank and Julia. And while exploring the remains of an ancient civilization, they learn that the people that used to live there worshipped a death god, depicted in stone carvings as a giant lizard. Only they discover there's a local tribe that still practices the old religion. And every few years, the god grants them supernatural power. Now, they want to sacrifice our heroes, and here's where I think we can do something really unique. I want Hank to be tempted by that power. The whole movie, we think he's the hero, but he decides to betray Julia. Makes a deal with the cultists. He gets to share in their power, but only by killing others. And after this, we follow Julia as she tries to escape her fate. Sir.
So...
It's a monster flick.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say it's a monster.
It does sound a bit off from our usual fare. Monster flicks might appeal to the kids, but they don't have legs, you see. Plus, of course, you're going to lose credibility with the Academy.
Agreed. Sorry, Richard, but I don't think we're interested in going down the B-movie route. Apologies for dragging you all the way down here, Mr. Montgomery.
Oh, hang on, sirs, if I may, I think you're missing the point.
I beg your pardon?
I think there's more to the trend here than just monsters. If you wouldn't mind hearing me out, I think I can change your minds.
Yeah, absolutely not. You've already wasted enough of Mr. Montgomery's
now,
time.
Hold on a moment, Martin. You know what, Richard? I'm going to give you a shot. I consider it a thank you for your service to your country. Now, I've got another meeting here in about 5 minutes. You got 3.
Thank you, sir. Now, let me ask. How do you think we won the war?
We invaded Germany. Everybody knows this. What's your point?
No. I mean, yes, most of the world knows that it was already over by that point, but that isn't how we ended the fighting. We did it by inventing the bomb. A terrible weapon capable of destroying a city overnight, which we used twice. 2 cities wiped off the face of the earth, just because we decided to. And I think that scares people, because that's when we won. That messes with their heads. As a soldier, I can't fathom it. You give me 1,000 of the best men in uniform, and I couldn't do what those bombs did in 100 years. Folks need tools to understand that. I think these movies are a way to do that. They're not just about monsters or aliens. People need new myths, new stories to help them understand the weird and scary world that we've created.
Well, that's a swell speech and all, Richard, but Tell me, what the hell does it have to do with an ancient death cult that worships a big lizard?
Well, our hero's an archaeologist, you see. She finds life in death. I think, maybe with a little workshopping, we can tell a story that teaches people not to fear death. People will resonate with it, not just because it's got spectacle, but because it helps them feel better about the world they're going to be living in. I think in the future, that's what's going to be putting people in seats.
I see. You don't just want to make a movie. You want to change the world.
I guess so, sir.
Well, you're not quite persuasive, but you're a hell of a storyteller. What do you think, Donovan?
Sir, I think we can't afford this. You'll need a massive crew, special effects. You'll need to line some serious pockets to get the star power to sell this thing. If we didn't have an untimely love on our plate, maybe we could fit it in, but that's burning too big a hole in our pocket. I don't see how we can do something like this right now.
He has a point. Tell you what, Richard. Take your time, refine your idea, but hold off on moving forward.
All right, then. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Richard. Now, don't worry, this isn't a no, it's just a not right now. I want to come back to this.
All right.
Should I put a stop to this?
Huh? No, I'm intrigued.
By the film?
By him.
What about him? No, please, you can't mean what I think you mean.
Why not? He's perfect. He's got discipline. He's got motivation. He's open-minded. And I think he's onto something. People do need new myths.
Respectfully, I think bringing him in would be a mistake.
Oh, well. If you think it's a mistake, well, I wouldn't want to start doubting you now.
Well, okay, thank you. Should I do something about him then?
No, I'll take care of it. After all, you have a movie to produce, don't you?
Oh, honey, thank you so much for helping me today. I don't think I could have done it all without you.
It's no problem. I had nothing to do today. Wait, where are we?
Why, darling, it's the storm cellar.
It looks more like a restaurant.
No, dear. This place is called the storm cellar. It's my little home away from home.
So you own a restaurant?
Oh, no, I own a bar.
A bar?
Yes, hon, I assume you're familiar with the concept?
Vaguely.
Well, allow me to get you a little more acquainted. My kids will be here soon, and I'll be ready to open.
Your kids? I didn't know you had children. Shouldn't you be getting them home, or...?
Oh, darling, I never said I had children. Now, come on inside. I'll give you the tour.
My darling Evelyn, you know you'll always be my first love, but it's not our time.
When will it ever be, Charles? When will be our time come?
It's not that simple, my love. You can't just turn back time.
So, our time is long gone?
Maybe it's time for...
Maybe it's time for us to move on.
Oh, I know the line. You know how I know the line? Because I can remember the word time. I can remember the title of the bloody film. I can remember the last line that also used the word time. I can remember a single page of the script that used the word at least a half dozen times. Hell, now I'm doing it. Who did you get to write this garbage?
Could you maybe just do the line this way? And then we can talk about trying another version.
You want me to come back for reshoots because you couldn't write a bloody script the first time?
I'm a PA, not the writer, Gary. And I'm just...
Mr. Connor.
Mr. Connor. I'm just filling in for Weller.
Another person not doing their job. Am I the only one on this bloody set who knows how to do their job right?
I think that's the third bloody since you broke character.
I beg your pardon.
I swear. You boys come get me when you're ready to make a movie.
Well?
It's just... if we're concerned with repetitive words.
How dare you?
Jacob Harrison!
Mr. Donovan, sir.
I see you managed to show him some respect.
Jacob, stop antagonizing the talent this instant. And who on God's luscious green earth told you to direct anyone on my set?
Richard asked me to.
Richard is not in charge of my set! I am. Richard reports to me, and I chose Alan Weller to direct my movie, not somebody with no name.
But you said my name when you came in.
You have no name! Until I see your name in lights or on a poster, until I hear your name come out of the president's mouth, you are a nameless nobody who is commandeering my set. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'll ask you again, where is Richard?
But you didn't ask.
You are running dangerously close to a reassessment, Mr. Harrison. Do not make me ask a third time.
Richard is in his office. He's writing, I think. I can go get him.
No, that won't be necessary. He doesn't need to be disturbed, but he was in charge today, yes, before he neglectfully handed the reins over to you.
He was managing the set earlier, since Weller was out. Yes.
Good. Attention, everybody. We're wrapping for the day. Strike your stations and go home. Get some rest. You've earned it. Gary, if you wouldn't mind sticking around for a bit.
Wait, what?
You heard me. Go home, Jacob. And when you come back to work tomorrow, if you happen to see Mr. Montgomery down here, you'll be sure to tell him that we're a day behind schedule because Richard was disorganized and unprepared. Yes?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Good man.
Samantha, dear, could you get my friend May here an old-fashioned, just like I showed you?
I'm sure. I think I can do that.
Now, May was just telling me about the most odious man she had to work with today. You know, May's in the movies.
Oh, wow, really?
Oh, don't let her fool you. That's Hannah's little joke. Almost everyone who comes here works on a set for some nearby studio. But we're not actors, or directors, or anyone important. We're just the crew.
May, how many times do I have to tell you, just because your name isn't on the marquee yet doesn't mean you're not important.
Of course, Hannah. I'll be more mindful.
Good. Now go enjoy your drink.
So, this is a bar for all the people who work in the movies?
Oh, well, no, not all of them. There are other bars out there for just anyone. But some people in this town can't really be who they are. Not right now, anyway. If it's too dangerous out there for someone, they can come here. I give them a place to drink, to mingle, and maybe even find someone that shares their values. We don't judge them in here, and we protect them from everyone out there. If you're in here, you're safe. That's my rule.
That's so kind of you.
It's not kindness if it's necessary.
So, who decides who gets to come here then?
Why, I do. I talk with everyone who comes through that door. If they're new, they get to have a chat with me. After that, I'll decide if they get to stay or if they're not welcome. I don't let just anyone come in here. Only the special ones.
I need a drink in my hand and someone on my lap.
And none's more special than that one. Jacob, so wonderful to see you. It's been a while.
It's been 2 days.
Feels like longer.
You're telling me. I must say, I've just about had it with this town.
Oh, dear. Samantha, can you get this man a gin and sin?
A what now?
Oh, never mind. I'll get it. How about you give him an ear? Jacob, you tell her what's on your mind.
Who's this? Did you have another kid?
We'll see.
What?
Don't worry about it. So, do you know anything about show business?
Well, only a little. My husband works in the movies, but I only hear positive things from him.
Then your husband is full of shit. It's a brutal business. Long hours, no appreciation, and the cruelest people you've ever seen in your life.
Surely it's not as bad as all that.
It is.
Oh, Jacob, dear. Where are you staying tonight?
We'll see after a few rounds.
I wish you wouldn't. You know quite well that May and Remy'd be happy to give you a place to sleep.
I'm quite sure I've worn out my welcome with them.
Now, what makes you say that?
Just a feeling.
Do you not have your own place to sleep?
I have a room that has a bed in it, if that's what you're asking.
Why can't you sleep there then?
For the same reason, I can't go one more minute without this drink inside me. How about a toast to this fucking day? May it be worse than the one after.
All right, heads up. Anybody who's working untimely, get back to set.
What? But we just got off an hour ago.
Just get back to set, Jacob, please.
Screw that. Donovan gave us the night off. I'm taking it. He can fire me in the morning.
For fuck's sake, Jacob! Gary's dead!
What?
Look, I came back to set after you all left, apparently, and I found his fucking body. Alright? We're not sure what happened to him. Rich is there now. We need everyone who's seen him today to go back to the set and talk to the fucking cops. Please.
Oh, like I said, officer, I was in my office for the last several hours working alone.
And you didn't hear anything?
Well, I hear lots of things. This is a movie set. Loud noises are common here. You start to tune it out.
All right, well, we're gonna have to ask your crew some questions.
Well, that's fine, but please, have your men keep this quiet. The last thing we need is the press getting a hold of this.
Maybe worry about the dead body on your set first before you worry about how it'll look in the papers.
Dick, what the fuck happened on your set?
Oh, hell if I know, Donovan. I put Jacob in charge of running a few scenes just to keep Gary satisfied. Weller was a no-show, so until we find him, I figured the day's wasted either way. Might as well let Jacob get some experience in the chair. Next thing I know, the crew is gone and Gary's face down in a pool of his own blood.
I don't understand. This happened after the crew left?
Apparently. No one was here when I found him but Remy. She said you told everyone to go home.
She told you that?
Yeah. Do you know anything about this?
Fuck.
Fuck what, Donovan?
Fuck. As in, congratulations are in order.
Well, whatever the hell for?
Looks like you're gonna get your movie.
The Blood Crow Stories is produced by Ellie Collins and Scott Moore. Season 4, Eidolon, is written by Eric Ravenscraft. Sound production by Scott Moore and Foley production, Zachary Votto. This episode featured cast members Ellie Collins, Laura Hauser, Evan Ivey, Brandy Mack, Judson Ragsdale, Eric Ravenscraft, Tyler Sutherland, Emily Thomas, Zachary Votto, and Joe Ravenson. The Blood Crow Stories is recorded at ARTC Studio with assistance from the Atlanta Radio Theater Company. And you can find the audio dramas at artc.org. Subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or the podcast app of your choice. Follow us on Twitter at TBCS Podcast, Facebook at facebook.com/The Blood Crow Stories, and Instagram at The Blood Crow Stories. Learn more about our show at www.thebloodcrowstories.com. If you like what we do and want to support our show, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/The Blood Crow Stories. Thank you. And now rest, sweet subject.
Thank you all so much. Thank you guys. So we are so incredibly excited for this season. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to turn it over to Eric since this is your season.
Oh, you didn't tell me anything about this. This is great. I'm so excited. I'm so
welcome to the chair I get put in. Just give the people a little taste of what they're in store for this season.
Spooky stuff.
It's spooky.
It's spooky.
Yeah.
It's spooky.
Yeah, this season we're going back to 1950s Hollywood, which If you've ever looked into 1950s Hollywood, it was not all sunshine and roses behind the scenes there. It was a time of glamour and star power and big studio productions, but behind the scenes, a lot more lawlessness, a lot more mystery and intrigue that we kind of get to dive into and explore here. And it was definitely in real life, totally supernatural and spooky, and that
Absolutely.
happened. That happened in real life. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. So I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But sinister stuff is afoot behind the scenes.
And it is based on some, actual things that were going on during the times.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
There is some historical accuracy, sort of. Mine is
legally safe, distinct from reality, historical accuracy.
Historically adjacent, as we
no,
like to.
No one, please sue us.
But yes, so we are
Yeah.
going to open the floor for questions, past seasons, future seasons.
I knew you'd have a question.
We have a box microphone. Catch it like that, and then toss it back to him.
Thank you.
Is it a mic, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's so cool.
That's cool.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I was first. Sorry, bad phrasing. I was first turned on to this series here through another panel about queer diversity within media. And so my question is, how did you decide to do meta, like story within story within story? Because the first time I ever seen like that was the original Mary Shelley Frankenstein. You had, first off, it started off with the ship captain who found Frankenstein, who then talked about the Frankenstein monster, and it went back and forth like that. So we have like the main story, and then we have especially in the first season there.
You're talking about Max, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Max with the podcast. Sorry you died.
And spoiler alert, everybody died.
It's in the beginning of the season.
I'm sorry you died.
Shit happens, bud.
The Southern Belle was really great. I love you. And then you had like the Blood Crows talking about using it. How did you decide to do that? Like,
So my original my original inspiration on it is I used to stay up very late when I was a kid to watch Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
And I loved that we just had the Crypt Keeper who was presenting all these new stories. So when we decided that this show was going to be self-contained horror stories, I said, well, something needs to tie it together. Something needs to present these stories to people. And we came up with the Blood Crows. And you, as the listener, are the subject of this Blood Crow being tortured and having your nightmares harvested, which is a reference to the movie City of the Lost Children, which is a French film about children's dreams being harvested. It's a really messed up film, and I watched it in film class in high school. And so we wanted to kind of give that that thing to tie it all together so that you, as the listener, are being brought along on this journey. And then we went really meta with first season because everyone had podcasts talking about how they felt about things. And so we said, well, let's have a podcaster that it just goes completely wrong for him.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Suffering is fun.
It was also
The moral of the story is don't ever start a podcast.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what any panel tells you.
And then Ellie, you evolved this whole story out across multiple seasons where there's just this entire world happening outside of these individual stories.
Yeah,
too.
the Blood Crow kind of became its own beast. So we'll probably at some point need to do a compendium of all of the intros of the Blood Crow in their own one once we wrap
That would be
season
cool.
4.
Yeah, go back and listen to those intros if you because a lot of people, you had told us this, started catching on about midway through season 1 that there was something that the announcer was actually talking to you, and things were going on, and then suddenly there's a whole meta plot.
And a lot of that also grew from the fans, because for anyone who's listened through, Allison from HR started as a joke in our Discord server where they joked about what a nightmare the HR department of a place that harvests nightmares would be. And they said her name's probably something like Allison. And so we created Allison from HR based off the fans, and now she is a very well-loved.
There's a
person.
lot of there's a lot of characters that started out as jokes.
Yeah.
You know, Barry and Darla being the...
Barry and Darla were the comic relief.
Yeah, they were
for
supposed to be the
Nora.
comic relief. They were just supposed to be, you know, a one-off side gag, and
And now they are
then
still
Barry
around.
ripped his skin off.
Yeah.
Stop doing the voices at home.
Yeah. I mean, we started off, we were just going to be the one-off joke to Nora, and then the fans really loved it. And then as we developed the Blood Crow thing, I really love Eldritch horror. So we said, and some of the old Eldritch horror, it was like if you were too close in proximity to a monster, it was sort of like imprint on your imagination and your dreams. So we have this eldritch creature called Dalian Beret that manifests into your dreams always as these twins, Barry and Darla, but in the real world, it's actually a two-headed eldritch monster.
Yeah, we scare the crap out of Scott by reading our lines at the exact same time.
Yeah, every time
It's terrifying.
Yeah, every time you hear Dalian Beret speaking at the same time, that's actually just us
Yeah,
actually speaking at the same time.
I mean, I add some effects, but there's no timeline. That's them. it's kind of unnerving the first couple times.
They do it constantly.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah.
Other question? Anything?
Commentary. Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
Zombie Prom King.
Preface this by saying I am not traditionally a quote-unquote podcast guy. So that being
Me neither.
said, you guys are really, really good at what you do, and I was just curious, how did you find one another? Because, I mean, throughout so many different types of media, so many of us are constantly in a perpetual struggle to find someone else that clicks with one another. And here I am over here listening to person after person of one or two of you I know. The rest are strangers, and yet every single one of you mesh so freaking well. And I'm wondering, how do people like you, were you all friends? Did you just get lucky? Or did you put out a
Can you come to
Craigslist
every
ad?
recording session, please?
That's why it's in a comfy box.
So this originated in Scott and I worked together on easily the worst pilot humanly imaginable. We won't legally go into
The
detail.
show that shall not be, the show that shall not be named.
Still, please don't sue us.
Yeah, it was, and there's a lot that can be forged in the fires of a nightmare set, where you're like, okay, we're two of the only sane people here that can do our job. So if I never need a sound guy, I'm picking you up. And then
Can I just say real quick, Forged in the Fires of a Nightmare Set is an awesome tagline for this show.
And then
that's really funny.
About a year, I don't know, I think it was like a year or two later.
Yeah.
I was working with other friends and opening up a production studio. I was running the audio wing, and I had an audio studio in there, and Ellie and I had kept up, and we were friends. And, we had our grand opening party, and, we were hanging out, and, I just built this studio, and I really didn't have any clients, unfortunately. If you build it, they will come is bullshit. But, I'm sitting there with equipment, and I'm like, let's do something, and, like I said,
that was your
let's start a
exact words.
podcast.
You said, let's just fucking do something.
Literally, yeah. I'm just like, I've got this equipment, let's fucking do something. And, and then, initially I'm thinking a traditional two-person, Talking Heads podcast.
Talk about opinions of your movies.
Exactly.
Because there's not enough Talking Heads podcasts out there already.
And she said, well, what about an audio drama? And I said, a what? And, she was telling, she introduced me to Welcome to Night Vale, Black Tapes, a couple others. And that got me interested because I'm an audio nerd. And
I said, let's do this, but gay.
Yeah.
Let's do this, but gay.
That's the tagline.
And I'm just like, I get to play with audio. I'm down.
Yeah. And then the whole rest of this group has just been an ensemble created from networks. I met Judson at Medieval Times cosplay night when he was dressed as Lord Baelish. Yes, that's how we met. And
you
brought
were a hobbit lady,
Yes,
or no,
I-
dwarf lady
I
with
was
the
a
beard.
dwarf woman, and I had 3 daiquiris, and I was like, Lord Baelish. And we
That's why you
stayed
always talk to people at cons.
Yeah, and then we stayed in contact, and he goes, well, if you like BioShock, my friends here cosplay BioShock, and you should come hang out with us. And that's how I met Laura and Eric. And then
They all auditioned for you as well.
Yeah, everyone up here auditioned, but it was like this network that we built. I met Evan through film and through other people that we knew in film. I met Joseph because we both worked at Netherworld Haunted House. Yeah. I met Zachary and Tyler because we were on the Uncanny X-Men web series together. Yes. Yeah, I was Scarlet Witch, he was Nightcrawler, and he was Banshee. And then Emily and I worked together.
Yeah, we work together in a call center. I'm the only one who doesn't actually professionally work in media.
And so
Emily and Lindsay and Grayson I met while working at Honda.
Yeah.
And then Brandy we acquired through the voice of Asmodeus this season, the really ultra sultry voice that's very uncomfortable to listen to.
Who is also the voice of Marshall Rutherford in season 2.
Yeah. So I met him because my wife and I go to the Ren Fair every year, and he's a part of a performance troupe at the Ren Fair called the Tortuga Twins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so we just kept going, and we wound up talking and becoming friends. And then when I was talking, I was like, I really want this kind of actress for this season. He was like, oh, I have my friend Brandy, and I was like, well, Ricky's really smart. If he says she's good, she's good.
And it turns out.
And we got a diamond.
You nailed your two.
We got a diamond.
You were so good that you became the protagonist of season 3. So
yeah, I mean, so credit where credit's due.
Yeah, she was brought in halfway through season 2.
Yep.
Yeah, and knocked it out of the park.
And
she's Maggie in season 2, and she's Keisha in season 3.
Yep.
Hey, you said it right finally.
Hey, I've said it right a lot of
We
times.
say Kesha in the booth so much.
I've said it right every
When
time
is
it's the
that
Blood
supercut
Crow
coming?
season 3.
Oh god.
But yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's a network of friends and work for her.
Yeah, so, and it's just a lot of, I've got that ear, so like Amanda who plays Fiona and plays Samantha, it was literally, we were just on the X-Men set one day, and I was racking my brain of who am I going to cast to play this Disney princess? And from
The
behind
actual Disney
me,
princess.
Yeah, from behind me, I hear the girl who was playing Dazzler just go, "Oh, that would be wonderful." and I just spun around. I was like, "Do you want to be on a podcast?" Which is the creepiest thing I've ever done to an individual I've never met.
And she's at Gen
Would you
Con
like
this
to be
weekend,
on my
right?
podcast?
Oh.
You did the same thing to me too, because I was playing Banshee, which is an Irish accent, and you specifically needed a character that at the time was just called Friend in the script, who was an Irish character and friend of Aiden.
And I knew Joseph could do an Irish voice, and I was like, well, I need someone who can also do an Irish voice, and then heard him and went, oh, hey, that guy works. And so, yeah, it was just a lot of, I always have my director's ears on, and I keep finding people by just going oh, I like that voice. Yeah, I like that voice. And then I've just built this great group of people that everyone up here is so insanely talented that I know I can just go, hey, do a little bit like this, do a little bit like that. And for a good chunk of folks on our cast, they've never voice acted before. We just trust each other and work together and pull the best out of each other, I think.
Follow your direction.
Yeah.
Networking and luck.
3 years now, we kind of have an idea of what we're doing.
Yeah. Just
We're
to give
on year 4. I hope we have it.
Just to give you a little bit of idea of how good everyone on this cast is, we just did a couple of run-throughs outside, and for some people that was the first time we'd all heard the voices together. I'm not a director. You are. But because you were busy doing another panel, they come up and be like, hey, what do you think of this? I was like, I don't know, just a little bit like this. Some of these performances are wildly different and way better just from what happened outside. A marked improvement from just the littlest bit of guidance, because you're all so good at this already.
Well, and I think so much of it comes from dedication.
Yeah.
We love these characters, and we want these characters to be larger than life and be the best they can possibly be. And then what I was saying in the previous panel about trusting you guys to run with your characters, because you spend all day in the headspace of them. Maggie from season 2 was so much more than I could have ever thought, because you just came in the booth a spitfire from day one. And I was like, that's it, that's Maggie. And so, trusting each other and giving each other the room to run and grow together, because this cast is cheesy, a family. But it's because we have that innate trust with each other that we can play those scenes together, and I think the show becomes much better for it.
I have a question from the internet.
Our Discord.
From our Discord.
We do.
Hi.
We have an official. We have an official Discord.
So this question comes from Quinn. Hi, Quinn. So Quinn was curious about character deaths because she remembers in season 1, everybody was going to die, but the order of deaths was decided by the quote dice gods by you.
It was. I'm a D&D nerd. So the first season, I was like, everyone's got to die. I don't know what order to kill these characters in. So I rolled D20s for every character to determine what episode they were going to die in, because each season is 20 episodes.
So
yeah, you nat 20, Devin. Yeah, I rolled initiative.
So-
and then the heartbreaking thing was rolling the same number for Fiona and Leo.
Oh.
I rolled for Fiona and I was like, okay. And then I rolled for Leo and got the same number, and I just like put my head down. I was like, oh no.
So season 1 was decided by the dice gods. Season 2 was significantly more tightly knit because of plot. She was curious, in season 3, were dice gods involved, or is it a very planned order of events?
Season 3 has been a lot more planned order of events because, I don't think this is spoilers. Until the gates of hell are closed, the demons can always crawl back up. So, yeah.
I think
demons.
I think you actually outlined that.
I think that's
the
early on in
story.
the show. So any demon that dies, until Keisha can get enough of her powers to close the gate, any of them can come back. So we take care of okay, Asmodeus has been around for a while. Let's chuck him back down in the pit. Let him crawl his way back up, and
throw out the whole demon.
Just throw away the whole demon. And then with all of the demons having a human persona, we have to very carefully decide, when do we break that persona? When does Keisha find out the truth about this person? And is it going to be that she's never met this person before? Is it someone close to her? And then we have to take into account how she's going to react at that betrayal. So yeah, this one has been a lot more like plan. But season 1, I had no idea what I was doing, so I just rolled some d20s.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
Multiple
people.
Right. I saw the Han Solo go up first, so get ready to catch.
Did you just say Han shot first?
Hey!
All right. What you got?
Okay, so I'm a big fan of audio dramas, and I love seeing the live shows and the behind-the-scenes stuff. And so I was curious how recording a live episode is different from how you normally record multiple takes, if everyone's together for the whole thing, etc.
It's hotter.
It's stressful.
So quite often when we record, there's only 2 to 3 people in the booth at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of separate, but we try and be mindful of okay, you're in a lot of scenes with this person. It's probably better if you guys play off of each other. But it also comes down to people's schedule. Live is more stressful for me as a director because I try to give everyone, because I do want to give the legs to run. I try and tell everybody, just do it for me once or twice as it's written. And if you want to go nuts, and just give me the line however you want it. So I do like recording in the booth more because I can give you guys more of a chance to just...
I will say, and as a testament to this cast,
my podcast, Academia.
Right. A lot of times there's maybe 1 or 2 takes.
Yeah.
If they flub a line, or if
if they say Kesha.
Say Kesha, or whatever. We'll go back over that, or if I hear something in the audio, if they hit the table or something like that, which happens. But for the most part, it's 1 or 2 takes. Everyone, especially, after the first couple episodes, once everybody settles into character, everyone just comes in and kills it, which makes my job easy because I don't have to sort through. The only thing I have to sort through is what bloopers I can't air because people get a little.
Can't air?
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot.
The deleted bloopers that
there
will
are
never
forbidden
see the light
bloopers
of day.
that will never hear the light of day.
I could never run for office.
Yeah. The forbidden bloopers are something that people have demanded. They will never get released.
Because most of us
no one here will. Sorry. No one on the cast will ever run for public office.
You will hate us. You will hate half of us, and then iTunes will hate the other half of us.
Yeah.
So no.
iTunes is cracking down on adult content. We're not risking that.
No. There is none.
We're all.
You can pay all our rents for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe just for you.
So there is a question next to you.
Yes.
What is your favorite character death? That you have either like.
Who's that directed?
I have an answer for this.
Is that everybody or?
So yeah, we can all just give. We'll all just
whoever
give
wants to
a
answer.
person. Laura, favorite character
No,
death?
I didn't prepare for this test.
I'll give you a second because I know mine was. I think it was the first one.
This will be a spoiler-filled answer for those.
I'm gonna spoil the hell out of
Should
these.
we just not say season 3 at all?
No, I mean, like,
I don't know where.
I mean,
it's out.
in general, it'll be a spoiler-filled answer.
I'm assuming if you're here, you don't care about spoilers.
just run.
Yeah.
I loved killing Judson. like
In
that
season
first
one,
one.
choking Tommy out?
Yeah, like Tommy with the blue tie. Were you and I in the booth for at the same time for that one?
I don't think so.
Okay. No.
But I think they play. I think they did like the playback. I think.
Yeah, but like I loved hearing you die, and I loved killing you.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. You're so good at dying.
And that's on record.
This is why I can't run for office. Oh, that's why. Among other things.
So I have one from season 1 and one from season 2. So Barry season 1 was probably one of the most heartbreaking and simultaneously upsetting deaths. And then season 2, Bear was super heartbreaking. I see other people also found it heartbreaking. Good, we did our job.
I will say, end of season 2. The final death.
That's
Only
my answer too.
Because we're not worried about spoilers, right?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
You all know
because Joe dropped that on us in the booth.
Oh yeah.
Like his last line was not scripted.
It was completely improv.
That was completely improv. None of us knew it was going to happen. It was just supposed to be a gunshot death.
I've never held my breath so hard just to not ruin that take because he completely shocked me when he did it. And I was just like...
He literally looked over you afterwards and went, "You didn't see that coming, did you?"
And I had a slight panic because there was... Thankfully, she held her gas long enough that I could cut it. So that didn't come through, but it was just like, okay, that's going in. Yeah, no, that's going in. That's perfect. That's my favorite, I think, story-wise. As far as audio-wise, it's got to probably be Barry's Death Season 1, because we played a lot with Foley on that one. And, I mean, gruesome deaths are fun for me. That's where I get to play. And probably that one.
You said you thought of one, Lauren? I did. I'm bad at remembering stuff, but this one's more funny. It was in season 2 when we had the one racist where we're like, no, bang.
The homophobe. We shot.
No, it wasn't a racist. It was a homophobe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because he was about to call
he just
Silver
was
a
about to
name.
say bad things, and we're like, nah.
And that actually was born out of numerous negative iTunes reviews that we got. So that part was my middle finger to, because we got a bunch of reviews that was like, it's just not realistic that this is a historical podcast and there's not homophobes. And I was like,
gay.
I was like, okay, but like I'm gay and I want to write about homophobes. And so we put a homophobe in a scene and had the character kill him and was like, that's what happened.
Also, fun fact, that was, I think, our first same character killing themselves. Yeah. Same actor killing themselves.
Yeah, because the same actor played Silver, also played the homophobe. So my favorite death is killing Joe at the end of season 2. Because it was such a beautiful penultimate scene of just getting retribution, but also the gut punch that you delivered at the end.
This was the right idea, but it didn't feel good.
Yeah, it was one of those beautiful moments that truly just shocked me to my core. And then acting wise, getting to play Darla's death at Barry's, because spending 12 episodes being the most bombastic character I've ever played just to resign herself to death completely because she lost her brother.
Oh, jeez.
And that was very beautiful to play.
Yeah.
It's dark, buddy.
It's dark, buddy. That's rough, buddy.
It's spooky.
Brandy.
I'm gonna ride on the train of who I got to kill. So, as far as my favorite death, as far as definitely the sheriff dying in season 2, that broke my heart. But the one as far as in season 3 when Keisha killed Asmodeus.
Yeah.
Because number 1, it was her first kill, and plus there were 2 things going through my mind. Number 1, I love how Laura and everybody was like, you know, this is your first death. This is when Keisha goes badass, so you gotta do her. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for real. But then at the same time, when listening to the episode, I just remember thinking about, because Ricky, who does Asmodeus, wasn't in the booth. So just thinking about what he was physically doing to show that death really tickled me. So that's why that was my favorite.
My favorite, I kind of get to kill everybody doing the Foley sounds.
That's true. That's true.
So
your favorite death is the macaroni?
Nikki eating the cabbage. Anytime you hear someone being eaten in season 3, it's just my wife eating a cabbage.
Fun Foley fact, vegetables make for great crunch.
But external of that, Bear is definitely up there. But I think my favorite actually is in the same episode, and it's Apostle Matthew, who is played by a voice actor named Bob Carter. Bob's awesome.
Bob's from Mortal Kombat.
Bob's from Mortal Kombat. Bob's from Street Fighter. Bob's from Full Metal Alchemist. And Bob proceeded to torture the living hell out of the entire group, and is just one of the most deserved deaths, I feel, because Bob is just sinister and just wicked, and just hearing him die was just this yes moment.
So real quick, just running through the last one.
Oh, yeah, we got 5 minutes. Yeah.
So I still have not forgiven you for this. Speaking of Foley work, season 1, Reginald.
Who was in the previous panel where I said they'll never let me forget it.
You're gonna get the Discord all up in arms again.
You kill one chicken.
That's still my favorite Booth story.
That was me and
If
Foley.
you want to hear the story, ask afterwards.
That was me and Foley and in acting.
Honestly, I was going to agree and pick the Aiden one, but after the dice, which I can't believe I didn't know about, I've got to say it's Leo and Fiona, because the fact that they rolled the same number and it was that poetic and tragic and painful, fuck yourself. And real quick, and then Amanda's not here, unfortunately, but again, that was all Amanda.
Yeah.
And because, she had to play herself and play herself possessed. And we figured, okay, just do one pass as Fiona, one pass as a possessed. She went back and forth.
Yeah,
she herself in the booth like a crazy person.
It was incredible and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Joe?
I can't remember the name, but from season 1, at the end, she just kind of sings and just kind of fades
Josie.
away. Josie, yes, thank you. That was
Josie
beautiful.
dies of poison while singing.
Yeah, that, and when I forget my friend's name, from the boat, Colin, that's right, because we got to do that gorgeous funeral for her.
Oh, yeah. That beautiful funeral.
And Judson.
Yeah, that was...
And Judson?
Well, Tommy, of course, because you always remember your first time. But, get like the whole interaction. Plus, that moment where he said like it's Malsef as Tommy like saying the words back to him. You don't measure up. But I also loved also in season 1 getting to be a part of was Dr. Johnson, because he was this character, and he's talked about how he was like pretty much an atheist since he was a kid, and then he's confronted with Malsef, and the first words out of his mouth are "Christ Almighty," which I thought was like such a brilliant turn of events.
Eldritch Horror will put the God right in you. And then
We have
last
one more question?
No,
we got
we
don't.
don't.
Three not. Hurry.
Go ahead.
Hurry, Gravity is your friend.
Hurry.
Hurry. Hot potato. Box of chicken. Potato. Hot potato.
I have a hard question.
Yeah.
Writers.
Yes.
So you guys do, obviously everything is horror, but you guys do a lot of really fun genres. There's Western, there's steampunk, or not steampunk, but cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I just want to know when you as writers decide that's what you want to do with the story.
So every season, I give myself 4 criteria. I decide the year, the horror genre, the monster, and then the audio delivery method. So season 1, 1920s, we had the cruise ship, eldritch horror, and then tapes. And then season 2, we had, letters, serial killer. Yeah, so by giving myself those 4 criterias, I break myself out of just thinking of the same rehashed cliches, because now I have to think of 4 separate things and get those categories going, and it's just a roulette machine. Like with cyberpunk, I'm like, what have we not seen in cyberpunk? Biblical horror, actual from Crowley demons kind of thing going on. And then
well, for season 4, we kind of split the work on that, because you gave me, I think I was already working on an idea for, and I didn't even think about time.
Different.
Yeah, it was a bit different, but then you were like, by the way, this is 1950s, and I was like, oh, and then that started the wheels turning. I think you told me Hollywood as well.
Yeah, I said 1950s. I'd like to do something
I remember us
Hollywood.
talking about your really early
and
ideas.
The monster was the one that I always had for that one, the villain. And then the delivery method, as soon as you said 1950s, I'm like, oh, well, Judson's got to do the news.
Frickin' voice. He has the best.
If there's any
announcer,
if you ever need a man to read the news in an old-timey voice, it's Judson.
There was no question on that one.
Yeah.
But I love that you gave me that framework, because to start with, I was kind of like, I haven't done, narratives like this in a very long time, and certainly not this publicly. But as soon as you said 1950s Hollywood, I'm like, oh, now this gets easier. Now I have a sandbox to play in rather than
when you build the
entire
sandbox, it's much easier.
The constraints help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And giving yourself that framework, because then also when you know your monster, you know what you want to do with it. So when I knew we're going to do an Eldritch God, okay, by the end of it, he's going to kill Max. He's going to do something. And then, season 2, serial killer, the serial killer eventually needs to die. Yeah. So it kind of helps give a starting and ending point, because then you're not like, well, I've got this generic bad guy and who knows where he might go.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. I want to listen.
Oh.
And it was amazing.
Oh, and one more thing, by the way, that I forgot to mention as Blood Crow when I was doing the credits and whatever. This incredibly talented motherfucker modeled and made our Eidolon Studios logo here. And also, I live with him, and he's kind of great, so
biased journalism.
A little bit, yeah.
We're fucking biased.
And
anyway.
And so to wrap it up as well, season 4 will be premiering on Halloween.
Yeah. Fun fact, that's actually a day after my real birthday.
That's true.
So thank you, Ellie, for this wonderful present. I'm serious, actually. Thank you.
We made the big announcement on our Twitter as well that season 5, we will actually be opening submissions for people with their own horror short stories, that we will produce your short story.
In a different format.
In a different format. We'll be shifting to quarterly, so this will be the last season where you get a full 20-episode story from us. And then after that, we open up to bring in more horror writers from the community and build our community from the inside. So thank you all again so much for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you to ARTC for helping us get all of this done.
Hell
ARTC
yeah!
ARTC! ARTC TBCS. Yeah.
That's a bag of letters. You can have this back now.
I don't even know where it came from.
We're gonna kill it.